Hello, everybody out there, and welcome back for this week's episode of Let's Talk But No Politics presents This Week in History Review. I am your host, Andrew Lenz. I come to you depending if you're watching it on YouTube or the Facebook, I would say Monday. If you're listening to this on Helium Radio Network there, then we are coming to you uh, every Friday at 7 p.m. So, this is where we review the week happening in pop culture. And this week we are looking back at the week of November 16th to the 22nd. And I want to give a shout out to a business I went to. I'm going to be reading this off of a card. So if you're watching the video, you're going to see my head dip. I recently went to a comic book store called Comic Warriors in the area that I live. And it's a great place. So they had everything, really great prices. I picked up a couple of comic books, stuff that I had as a kid, don't have anymore, but I wanted to go back and read. And they were good enough prices where I could do that, even though I am a father of three on a budget. So I could do that. So if you're ever in the Dallas Fort Worth area, please go check out Comic Warriors at 1540 Keller Parkway in Keller, Texas. Go check them out, and you can follow them on Facebook, and you can also go check out their website at www.comicwarriors.com. I suggest checking these people out. Really great people, super nice, awesome stuff. So back to the show here, and we have, like I said, the week for November 16th through the 22nd. Here we go. November 16th. November 16th, 1981, Luke and Laura from General Hospital are married. I was not around for this, but I know Luke and Laura is a big deal thanks to my grandmother watching General Hospital every single day. I lived with my grandmother for a while, and so come home from school, I had finished watching General Hospital. I remember when Luke and Laura got back together or something, and they were flying in a plane. Very big deal. World stopping stuff in my grandmother's mind. So that is where I got to put this. I even got a little bit addicted to General Hospital after a while. I don't really remember too many people, but it was something I come home from school and watch there. I did it for about a month. Very interesting. Soap operas can get addictive. But November 16th, 1981, Luke and Laura from General Hospital are married. See what we got for. November 17th, 1978, the Star Wars Holiday Special airs on CBS. Let's see here. I am a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. I'll tell you, there's been some bad movies. There's been some good movies. This right here is the absolute worst out of all of them. This is what you call the first Star Wars money grab. Let's, try and grab some money here for this. And that, like, oh my God, I can't even. They're trying to save Chewie's family and its life day. And this is definitely not canon. You can find this on YouTube. And it's Life Day, and they're trying to save Chewie's family from the Empire or something like that. It's been years since I watched it because it's god awful. And like stormtroopers show up at like Chewie's tree house with his family and try and take the family. And you got Luke Skywalker, and it's everybody from the movie. Skywalker, Mark Hamill's playing Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher's playing Princess Leia, Harrison Ford's playing Han Solo. It's just so god awful. The only good thing of the Star Wars Holiday Special is the first appearance of Boba Fett. Other than that, horrible. It's just not, it's not good at all. people talk about The Last Jedi. The, the Last Jedi's got nothing on the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's the premises behind it is horrible. There's like some weird dancing lady at one point, and it's like I can't. There's certain things that I guess you could do something with Christmas or the holidays with. And unfortunately, Star Wars is not one of them. I'm sorry. Like, I'm kind of glad I didn't know this existed until I got older because it's pretty horrible. And it only aired once, and it's like impossible to find unless you find it on YouTube. That's how I watched it. I watched it 10 years ago on YouTube, and I was like, what is this stupid, stupid stuff? Just check it out. If you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't watched it, or you're a new Star Wars fan and you're like, oh, I got to watch everything, check it out. But I warned you. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, November 17th, 1978, the Star Wars Holiday Special airs on CBS. Here we go. November 18th, 1992, the controversial Seinfeld episode titled The Contest airs on NBC. So I'm going to try and keep this PG PG-13 as much as possible. They have going into this contest to see who can go the longest without having alone time. We'll go that route. It's just so great the way that the dominoes fall, the classic Kramer sliding in, slapping the money on the table, saying I'm out. It, this probably put Seinfeld on the map. Seinfeld was a very good show. But this one's probably up there in everybody's minds. So uh, this is what it is. I mean, it's an awesome episode of just these people betting on it because it's not something that you normally heard on TV. I know it's not something I normally heard on TV. That the talk of alone time and even the gambling of alone time with your friends is pretty crazy as well. But this is I didn't know it was so controversial until I was looking up things for this and seeing yeah people didn't like it, and we talked about last week with the Murphy Brown and her being a single mom and having a kid and the controversy behind that. So this is getting to the point where TV gets a little bit more edgier and everything else. So Seinfeld, great, great. It used to be my favorite show, and then I found a couple other ones that actually do beat out Seinfeld. But on November 18th, 1992, the controversial Seinfeld episode titled The Contest airs on NBC. Go check it out. It still holds up. I think all of Seinfeld holds up today. Let's see what we got for November 20th. Or, no, I'm sorry, 19th. I'm getting ahead of myself. Not cool. Uh, November 19th, 2006, the Nintendo Wii is released in the United States. I think, other than the original NES, the Wii is something that brought everyone together, whether you're old, young, or anything else. The Wii was like, this is it. This is what we're going to do. This is awesome. The way that you could play the games, the way that you could do, everything's motion. Everybody could be included into it. I mean, because Wii Sports was just amazing by itself. That was just the reason to buy it there was just to be able to play Wii Sports do all this stuff there. It was pretty amazing with the bowling. And you actually roll the ball, and you make sure you wear your wrist strap because you don't want to throw the controller through the TV. That's Yeah, you definitely don't want to throw that controller through the TV. I remember that was a big deal. I made sure everybody in my house, if you were coming over to play the Wii, you put that wrist strap on, or because if you broke my TV, I'm buying. You're gonna have to buy me a new TV because that's what it's there for. It's probably the first video game system my wife and I played a lot. We played Mario Baseball to the point where we're so competitive we almost got, I could say, the divorce lawyers were almost on the phone for it. Wii Golf was another one that we would battle back and forth with. So many good games on here. You could do the Wii Fit. I had some game on there that I was trying to get fit with. It was NFL Training Camp, and you did NFL drills, but you did it through a Wii remote, sensors. It was great. This has got to be one of my. It's in my top 10 favorite video game systems. Not top five, but like I said, this was the first video game system I feel since the NES to bring the whole family together. Grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody was like, let's go play the Wii. And you could toss four players. You had Just Dance on it. Just Dance was a great one too. You get to do all the dance moves. The Wii really set it up perfectly as the family console because Nintendo was dipping. I'm not gonna lie. In my mind, they were dipping. As I got older, Nintendo became more of the child's system. I became more Sega, PlayStation, or yes, I owned a Sega Saturn. That's horrible. But I became more PlayStation, where PlayStation was the best. Oh man, PlayStation. You gotta have a PlayStation. I own an Xbox. I'm a PlayStation guy. I know a lot of people are Xbox guys, and it is what it is between the two. So, but this was the one that everybody sat around playing together. My wife worked at a nursing home at the time. They had a Wii. So the residents there could, do the bowling game and everything else. I can't say enough about the Wii. It is definitely probably the best family console out there. On November 19th, 2006, the Nintendo Wii is released in the United States. Commercial, too. We would like to play. That's a good one. But the Wii on the Wii was released November 19th, 2006. Now let's go to the 20th. Now let's go to the 20th and see what we got going on over there. All right. Day in history, November 20th, 1982. Drew Barrymore, at the age of 7, hosts SNL. This is still at a point where if you're hosting SNL, you're pretty big, I would imagine. It's 1982. There's not a whole lot going on in 1982, but here's Drew Barrymore, age of 7. I believe this is just off the heels of ET. And she got a hosting gig doing Saturday Night Live. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm a huge Drew Barrymore fan. I think her and Adam Sandler together are great. And to see this was pretty shocking because most kids, it's most 7-year-olds, you don't even want to walk in across the street by themselves, let alone hosting Saturday Night Live. But she went out there and did it and probably made history. Definitely had to be the youngest. I'm pretty sure you don't got 5-year-olds or anything. Did the Ally McBeal baby host Saturday Night Live? I don't think so, but that's a computer generated image, so that's not counting. But it's just me. But then again, as I'm thinking about this, well, after ET, she probably was pretty much like pretty it out there because she was great in ET and E.T. is a great movie. Even though I know a lot of people don't like it, I enjoy it. I still enjoy E.T. E.T. is amazing. Uh, November 20th, 1982, at the age of 7, Drew Barrymore hosts SNL. Let's keep this moving on to the 21st. Let's go. November 21st, 1980, we finally found out who shot JR on Dallas. Another one, history moments. I don't remember, but I remember, I know it's iconic. It's huge. It's a standstill moment in America. Uh, Re-internet, where you could go on and find conspiracy theories. This is one of those things where you just chatted with somebody else in the neighborhood, or you called somebody and you had to call a long distance and you had to pay for long distance. Well, who shot JR? Who did this? Who did that? Who do you think it is? Putting clues together, and you had to wait. Cliffhanger. You had to wait for the next season. It wasn't like a cliffhanger where we watch on Netflix, where all of a sudden we can get that. If we just started in, towards where there is a couple of seasons, we can catch real quick. We can catch it real quick. Oh, we'll just hit next episode and we'll get it. We'll get that cliffhanger. This is back in the golden, or in the prime age of TV, where cliffhanger stayed a cliffhanger for a summer, or a winter, for a week, for months. You didn't know who did what until that show came back on. This is huge. It's so much to the point where The Simpsons did a parody of it as well, of Who Shot Mr. Burns. So for The Simpsons to take that and do a parody of it and look at what they did, it's absolutely amazing. I still don't know who shot JR, but I know people found out. Well, I'm gonna look this up real quick because I do this off the cuff, right off the cuff. Whenever I do my recordings, you're probably sitting there in your car in your house and yelling it out. Oh, it was Christine Shepard. Okay, there you go, Christine Shepard. It was JR's scheming sister-in-law and mistress. Don't get a mistress, folks. Who shot her? Oh, she got mad. See, don't get a mistress. Stay with your wife. Stick with her. Do not cheat. Don't do anything because you don't want to end up like JR and get shot. That's not something you want to do. So, November 21st, 1980, we finally found out who shot JR. It was Christine Shepard, his sister in law, an angry mistress. Fellas, don't cheat. They might shoot you. All right, here we go on to our final date, November 22nd. I'm just gonna say, out of all the things this week, this one would have to say meant the most to me throughout everything because of what this movie was, and I'm gonna get to it in a minute. This is kind of a transitional period, I would have to say, almost, where you're getting too old for certain things, but yet you still go back to them. So, without further ado, let's look at November 22nd. November 22nd, 1995. Toy Story premieres. This is what I'm talking about. I'm about, I think, anywhere between 12 to 14 years old. Toys and cartoons are still kind of cool, but not that big. Girls and other things are getting into where, that's what boys are caring about. Toy Story hits, and it lit up my imagination once again, where these toys were coming to life, and, having meetings and doing everything else, and it just lights up your imagination. Plus, the kid's name is Andy. I'm Andrew. There you go. And that's what was so amazing about this is that it sparked imagination again in me that maybe those toys that I used to play with or that I don't play with anymore are still coming to life and wondering, why doesn't he play with me? What's going on here? And it was just amazing in the story of the new toy. The new toy takes over your old favorite toy. And that happened to me. I remember as a kid, you get a new toy, and your other toy didn't matter for a little bit. You know what your other favorite toy was. You carry that one toy with you everywhere. I remember going to daycare and my mom writing my initials AL on the bottom of the feet, so that way they would know it was mine and nobody would try and steal it or anything of that nature. So there's just so many different things in this movie that hit home with me because these are things that I'm pretty sure probably hit home with a lot of people. But like I said, it hit home with me and probably hit home with you because these are all things that we did as a kid, we witnessed as a kid. And if you were older watching us, you started to realize these were the same progressions of every child. The name on the feet, the shiny new toy over the old toy, the changing of posters and sheets and wallpaper and all that stuff in your room because you wanted to do the new toy. I had Ninja Turtle sheets and everything else. And then after Ninja Turtles got boring, so I started getting the Toy Biz X-Men line and everything else. And it just showed real life transition of everything going on, along with the great story where they just want to get back to their owner, to their kid, per se, and the adventure into doing it so that they can feel that love again and not let him worry because he was worried when he lost Buzz and Woody. He was worried, he was. That is where this lies right there. I did not have many Toy Story toys. I don't think I had any. My stepmom was a huge collector of Toy Story toys. There was a pretty decent video game. I remember playing the video game on, I want to say, Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis. I don't know. I was one of those kids that had both. That's only because my parents were divorced, and my brother came up with this concocted idea that uh, he found out my grandmother was going to get us a Super Nintendo, and he found out my dad was going to get us a Super Nintendo, and he said, "Why don't we just tell Dad that we want a Sega Genesis, so that way we can have both?" And I thought it was the most amazing idea in the world. So, a little story there. Uh, but that is Toy Story. Amazing, just amazing. And it still holds up today. My kids watch Toy Story. I'm pretty sure if you have kids and you're listening to this, your kids watch Toy Story. 1 through 4 were absolutely amazing. I don't think there's really a bad Toy Story in the bunch. It's uh, not like Star Wars where there's some bad Star Wars movies, but I don't think there's a bad Toy Story movie because it just tells really great stories, and that's what you're looking for. So November 22nd, 1995, Toy Story premieres. So here we go. We are at the end. Thank you. Thank you for listening once again. And just a reminder, if you want to listen to this, you can catch it every Friday on Helium Radio at 7 p.m. And if you want to listen to my other episodes from Let's Talk But No Politics, okay, you can catch a new episode every Sunday, and on the BICP Radio Network. We got shows for everyone. Shows for everyone. You can also find them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and as always, we get all most of our work done. I would say pretty much everything done through the podcast precinct. They are the best place to go for. They're in North Tonawanda, the best place to go for recording if you want to use the equipment. Great equipment. If you want to get editing done, great place to get editing done at great prices. Make sure you hit them up if you need any of that done. And like I said, new episodes every Sunday of Let's Talk But No Politics Okay on the BICP Radio Network, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. This last Sunday, I just did Little League Memories with my friend Joe Kasha. And we just talked about what we did in Little League, but then we also got into a little bit of other things too, games we used to play and things we used to do while hanging out as well. And, memories that he had. And I tell him the stories behind that. And it was just a really great conversation. Go check that out. That is once again on the BICP Radio Network, Spotify, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And please go check out Let's Talk But No Politics on Facebook. Check out our Facebook page. I do live streaming of video games. We are on YouTube. I put up those live streams of video games on our YouTube channel as well. And I am also on Instagram. So please go check those out. And like I said, if you like retro video games, that's what I've been trying to do. I've already played Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, some Ninja Turtles, Street Fighter 1941, Knights of the Round, some really great games. And also on the YouTube channel, if you don't want to, I also do another podcast, The 2 Point Conversation. You go over to the 2 Point Conversation Facebook page. I play Tecmo Super Bowl there. And also, if you go to my Facebook page, if you don't want to go to the 2.1, but please go check it out, like it. And if you say you missed something and you need to get a quick going for the Tecmo Super Bowl season, I believe I'm in week 7, please go over to the YouTube channel. It is right there if you want to see me play some Tecmo Super Bowl for the 2 Point Conversation. And with that being said, I'd like to say